What is going on, everybody? It's Sean O'Connell, the managing director here at CinemaBlend, and our Game of Thrones marathon continues. No longer a binge, now we're watching in real time. We are up to Season 8, Episode 2, which means that I can finally react to you guys as things are happening. We can all discuss them together. It means I've been able to go down into the comments, figure out when you guys want us to post these. Believe me, we're debating behind the scenes about whether we should do it immediately after the new show or closer to when the next episode is going to drop. We are at episode 2. The previous one was called Winterfell. We know that the Night King is closer to reaching Winterfell, and we assume that by episode 3 there's going to be a huge battle. I'm pretty sure I read someplace that episode 3 was going to be a battle at Winterfell, which means this potentially could be one of those in-between episodes where we're still sort of moving people around the board. But I said this at the end of the commentary for the first episode of this new season, that with only 6 episodes, we can't really waste time on place setters. But that doesn't mean that huge things hadn't just happened. Jon Snow is going to have to deal with the after effects of the reveal of his lineage, and whether he's going to do something about it with Dany. And when the episode ended, Jaime fucking Lannister had arrived at Winterfell and was staring down creepy Bran. So let's go right into that and figure out where this episode is going to pick up. This is Season 8. This is Episode 2. By now, you guys know what to do. Go down, hit subscribe, turn on your notifications, follow along with me and my brilliant editors as we watch the latest episode of Game of Thrones. We have, 5 left? 5 left, people. Not a lot. So let's find out where we're going in this episode. Oh, I mentioned this on Twitter, but if you missed it, this is a wine night episode. So pour accordingly and join me, because no one should drink alone watching the final season of Thrones.
My brother would tell me a bedtime story about the man who murdered our father.
Oh.
He told me other stories as well, about all the things we would do to that man. Your sister pledged to send her army north. I don't see an army. I see one man with one hand.
She never had any intention of sending her army north. She has Euron Greyjoy's fleet and 20,000 fresh troops. Even if we defeat the dead, she'll have more than enough to destroy the survivors.
We.
I promise to fight for the living. I intend to keep that promise.
Your Grace, I know my brother.
Like you knew your sister.
He tried to destroy my house and my family the same as he did yours.
Do you want me to apologize?
He did.
I won't. We were at war. Everything I did for my house and my family. I'd do it all again.
The things we do for love.
Oh.
You don't know me well, Your Grace, but I know Sir Jaime. He is a man of honor.
You vouch for him.
Of course she
I
does.
do.
Of course she does. She loves him.
I trust you with my life. If you trust him with yours, we should let him stay.
We need every man we can get.
You sure do.
Look, I know you want to fight. I know you're not scared of rapers or murderers. This is different. This is death. You want to know what they're like? Death. That's what they're like.
I know Death. He's got many faces. I look forward to seeing this one.
They need to cast Gendry in a Christian Bale biopic. He looks exactly like young Christian Bale. This should be really interesting.
I'm sorry for what I did to you.
You weren't sorry then.
I'm not that person anymore.
You still would be if you hadn't pushed me out of that window. And I would still be Brandon Stark.
Why didn't you tell them?
You won't be able to help us in this fight if I let them murder you first.
What about afterwards?
How do you know there is an afterwards?
Bran is like Doctor Strange, who has seen all the different outcomes and in only one of them they win.
Was she lying about the baby, too?
No. That part is real.
Is it, though? Because I don't think so.
I always pictured myself dying in my own bed, at the age of 80, a belly full of wine and a girl's mouth around my cock. At least Cersei won't get to murder me. I'm sure I'll feel some satisfaction denying her that pleasure.
Well, if Bronn shows up, I ship them the most.
I'm not the fighter I used to be, but I'd be honored to serve under your command, if you'll have me.
He's gonna die in this episode. This is the end of Jaime Lannister.
You're advising me to forgive the man who stole your position.
I am. And one other suggestion, if you'll allow me.
Ooh, this will be interesting.
He never should have trusted Cersei.
You never should have either. Families are complicated.
Huh.
Oh, certainly have been.
the motto of this whole show.
We've both known what it means to lead people who aren't inclined to accept a woman's rule, and we've both done a damn good job of it, from what I can tell. And yet I can't help but feel we're at odds with one another. Why is that?
Why is that?
Your brother.
He loves you, you know that. Men do stupid things for women. They're easily manipulated.
All my life, I've known one goal, the Iron Throne. Now I'm here, fighting John's war. Tell me who manipulated whom? I'm here because I love your brother, and I trust him. And I know he's true to his word. He's only the second man in my life I can say that about.
She's talking about Momoa!
Who was the first?
Momoa!
Someone taller.
What happens afterwards?
I take the Iron Throne.
What about the North? We said we'd never bow to anyone else again.
Oh, Danny.
I want to fight for Winterfell, Lady Sansa.
Talk about a redemption story. I'm not ready to have you back, Reek. I'm not ready to ride that retribution parade. You didn't earn it yet.
The big woman's still here? They're coming. The Night King made them all. They follow his command. Getting to him may be our best chance.
He'll come for me.
Yes.
He's tried before, many times, with many three-eyed ravens.
What does he want?
An endless night. He wants to erase this world, and I am its memory.
That's what death is, isn't it? Forgetting. Being forgotten. If we forget where we've been and what we've done, we're not men anymore.
How will he find you?
His mark is on me. He always knows where I am.
We'll put you in the crypt where it's safest.
No.
Bait.
We need to lure him into the open before his army destroys us all.
Exactly.
I'll wait for him in the Godswood.
You want us to use you as bait?
Yes.
We're not leaving you alone,
I
are
just
He
said
won't be.
that.
I'll stay with him. I took this castle from you. Let me defend you now.
I need a refill before all this hits.
The dragons should give us
Keep
an
going,
edge
I'm
in the
listening.
field.
If they're in the field, they're not protecting Bran. We need to be near him. Not too near or the Night King won't come, but close enough to pursue him when he does.
Dragonfire will stop him.
I don't know. No one's ever tried.
You've had a strange journey.
Stranger than most.
I'd like to hear about it.
It's a long story.
If only we were trapped in a castle.
North. I'd like to see the beaches again.
Then I will take you there.
We told her yet.
Is that Ghost?
No.
Now our watch begins.
We didn't mean to interrupt. We were just looking for somewhere warm to...
To contemplate your imminent death, you've come to the right place.
Half a cup.
Talking to Pod the Rod.
And you?
Couldn't be. Now this is a party I can get in.
Methinks
Oh,
can
Davos
handle this.
too. Yes.
All's off
Oh,
right there.
come on, they're all showing up.
They call me Giant's Bane. Want to know why? I killed the giant when I was 10. Then I climbed right into bed with his wife. You know what she did? Suckled me at her teeth for 3 months.
If Tormund isn't one of your favorite characters by now, you're watching the show wrong. Come on, you two. You respect each other. I know you do.
Oh, for fuck's sake. That's why we had a bloody wedding.
I'm not spending my final hours with you two miserable old shits.
She's gonna find Gendry or Sansa. Looks like it's little Christian Bale. Ooh, her weapon.
I'm Robert Baratheon's
Baratheon.
bastard.
We're probably going to die soon. I ought to know what it's like before that happens. I'm not the Red Woman. Take your own bloody pants off.
I think we might live.
You're not the knight?
Women can't be knights.
Why not?
Tradition.
Fuck tradition. I'm no king, but if I were, I'd knight you 10 times over.
I love it.
Any knight can make another knight.
Yes, yes, yes.
Kneel, Lady Brienne.
Come on.
Do you want to be a knight or not?
Yes. You deserve it. Come on. Huge moment.
In the name of the warrior, I charge you to be brave. In the name of the father, I charge you to be just. In the name of the mother, I charge you to defend the innocent.
I love how they all want a good seat for this.
Arise, Brienne of Tarth. a knight of the Seven Kingdoms.
Oh my gosh. I have goosebumps. That's beautiful.
Sir Brienne of Tarth, Knight of the Seven Kingdoms.
Here, here. Here, here, Brienne. Here, here. No one deserves it more, girl.
Your father, he taught me how to be a man, how to do what's right. This is right. It's Valyrian steel. I'd be honored if you take it.
I'll wield it in his memory to guard the realms of men.
Wow. Yeah, these two need to button this up before the battle starts.
Who's that?
Lyanna Stark.
My mother.
My brother Rhaegar. Everyone told me he was decent and kind. And he raped her.
He didn't. He loved her. They were married in secret. After Rhaegar fell on the Trident, she had a son. Robert would have murdered the baby if he ever found out, and Lyanna knew it. So the last thing she did, as she bled to death on her birthing bed, was give the boy to her brother, Ned Stark, to raise as his bastard. My name. My real name is Aegon Targaryen.
That's impossible.
I wish it were.
Oh, so much
Who
incest.
told you this?
Bran, he saw it,
He saw it.
and Samwell confirmed it.
A secret no one in the world knew. Except your brother and your best friend. Doesn't seem strange to you?
It's true, Danny. I know it is.
If it were true, it would make you the last male heir of House Targaryen. You'd have a claim to the Iron Throne.
He doesn't want that right now. He doesn't care. There's an army of dead people coming your way. Well, they're here. This episode gonna end right now. Here's what's gonna happen, folks. We are gonna lose a lot of characters next week. There's gonna be a lot of people who die at the Battle of Winterfell. For this reason, this wasn't an episode where the wheels spun for no good reason. We didn't go to King's Landing at all. Everything was set in Winterfell. We caught up with a lot of different people, and they all essentially got an important amount of closure. You got some amazing all-star scenes. All-star scenes, like scenes where characters who we have beloved over the course of the previous 7 seasons now all share scenes together. And the one where they just keep stacking up on top of each other is Tormund, Jaime, Brienne, Tyrion, Davos, Pod the Rod. They're all just gathered together in a pre-battle conversation of, look, let's drink and entertain each other because this might be our last night here. And Arya gets her weapon from Gendry and then decides, like, I need to feel what sex feels like before I die. And the two of them hook up. Brienne, in a goosebump-inducing scene, gets knighted by Sir Jaime. And I mentioned in the commentary how much I ship Brienne and Jaime, how much I also love Brienne and Tormund, how much I want the two of them to be together. But Brienne gets something that she's been longing for her entire life, and something that she truly earns, which is the title of a knight. And in any other traditional type of storytelling, this stuff only happens to characters who are about to lose their life in a major battle. You would see this stuff happen in another story, and you'd be like, oh, that's sweet, but they're about to die. Oh, that's sweet that Brienne got knighted, but she's about to die in a major battle. Oh, that's so sweet that Arya finally hooked up with Gendry, but that probably means she's about to die. And this is a cynical way to look at it, right? This is a very cynical way to look at the big picture of Game of Thrones, and maybe Thrones has some surprises lined up for us. But the way that this episode played out, it was feeling very much like people getting closure for their 8-season arcs. And it means that in next week's episode, I'm going on record as saying right now, I think we're going to say goodbye to a lot of significant characters. Now, I don't know who. I don't feel comfortable enough to go on record and say who I think necessarily in a death pool is going to bow out in the Battle of Winterfell. But this episode did enough so that we can say goodbye to some major characters, whether it's Jaime, whether it's Brienne, whether it's Arya, whether it's Gendry, and feel that they've come to a conclusion. Now, I don't think the show is done with Sansa yet. She and Dany had some girl talk where Daenerys ultimately said to her, look, the Iron Throne is still my goal. And Sansa's like, yeah, but what about the North? Like, I still need to fight for the North. And even if you take over the throne, I'm not going to give you the North necessarily. She embraced Theon, who came back to fight for Winterfell. And if anyone's going to go, truthfully, I think Theon's on the list, the short list of gots to go, right? These guys got to go. And Bran, creepy Bran, catching everybody up. I don't know. No, I related Bran to Doctor Strange in this scenario, in that in Infinity War, again, I'm sorry if you don't follow the Marvel movies, but Doctor Strange essentially in Infinity War said, like, I viewed all the possible scenarios of how this can play out, and there's only one scenario where we win, right? And I'm curious how much Bran knows about, like, where this is going to go, right? Like, Bran says, like, the Night King is going to come for me. He's got his mark on me. He knows where I am at all times. And when he comes here, this is what Bran said. He wants to erase this world, and I am its memory, right? So it's building to a confrontation between the Night King and Bran, although everybody who's still existing is going to basically have to protect Bran from the onslaught of the Night King. And so this was one of those episodes where if everything was going to start moving along at a rapid pace, we would have seen the start of the battle here. Now, pacing is a real challenge for Game of Thrones in these final 6 episodes, right? We only have 6 episodes, and now 2 of them are down. So we only have 4 episodes left. And the showrunners really have to figure out, like, how many episodes do they want to burn before they are able to get to stuff that they know people need to see. And so what they have to figure out is, how much do they have to show us, and how many episodes is it going to take for them to show us that as a satisfying conclusion. Now, if the entire show concludes in Winterfell, then you can pause for an episode and you can let, again, it's not spinning wheels, but it's character development. But I don't think we're going to end in Winterfell. I've gone on record in these commentaries as saying that after the Battle of Winterfell, everything's going to move further south. And we may pit stop at the Iron Islands, where Yara has set up shop to give Dany a place to sort of regroup. But I think everything's going to finish in the final episode in King's Landing. I think you're going to see Cersei and her troops and whoever's surviving versus the Night King, and it's going to be a final battle in King's Landing. That's what I've gone on record as saying is going to happen. But the pacing allowed one more episode of character development, one more episode of conversation and moving a few things around the board. But by the end of the episode, the Night King's army was at the edge of Winterfell and ready to move forward, which means we're going to get a huge, huge episode next week, which is great. I mean, it's great. We're all sort of primed and ready for this. And truthfully, based on the years of storytelling that I've seen play out in different scenarios in movies and television, this episode to me was a lot of closure and getting people to a place where we're ready to say goodbye to them, because next week I think we're going to lose a lot of major characters. So why don't we find out together when episode 3 of season 8 drops. So you don't want to miss that. Go down, hit subscribe, turn on your notifications. Listen, I'm going to tell you in advance that next week's episode, because of the pending deaths that I think are going to be coming, it's going to be a wine episode. So pour accordingly, and we will both bring our wines to it. And we will see you back here next week when episode 3 of season 8 drops, and we watch it and react to it here at CinemaBlend.